welcome back to another episode of Some Like It Pop, a bi-weekly look at the latest in pop culture with the editors of PopCrush. I'm Bradley Stern.
I'm Samantha Vincenti.
I'm Ali Zubiak.
I'm Matt Donnelly.
Today, we're talking about a whole bunch of things. We're starting off with the Billboard Music Awards, and then we are going to talk about the Bachelorette, which kicked off this week. And then we're going to have a little retrospective about The Hills, which turns 10 this year. So I went to the BBMAs, and I'm really tired. Ask me anything, literally.
Okay. How do you see with all that stardust in your eyes?
Yeah.
I honestly, I've been on 2 flights since yesterday. I woke up at 5 a.m. and my brain is dead. So I can't quite remember everything that happened, and that might also have been the 1 or 2 gin and sodas during the show. But it's a weird experience to be at the award show in person. It's the first time I ever sat in the audience for one. I've done red carpet stuff, but never actually got to enjoy it for myself. And it's really strange. I don't think this is the case for every award show, but people were allowed to buy tickets, so it was pretty much a general admission affair. And people were kind of treating it like a festival, sort of, and people were just walking around with hot dogs and stuff, and it was like, all right. But then there's also people dressed up in tuxes and stuff and looking super important. So
what were you wearing,
weird.
out of curiosity?
I'm glad you asked. I was wearing a vintage Britney Spears t-shirt with a blazer to keep it classy yet funky. And I came with some friends and some PopCrush people and people from Town Square. And
what would you say is the last year that you did not travel to Las Vegas to see Britney Spears perform?
Good question.
Oh, wow. I've been there every year since she's been there. I went the 5th show she ever did, and then a year later in 2014, and then this reinvention of the show in February. So I've been every year, though. Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
And how did her introductory number measure up?
Well, I was very nervous. Again, this was really about me, if we're going to be honest here. Because this was the first time that she performed solo at an award show since 2007, which I don't think people realized. There was a lot kind of riding on it. And I was incredibly pleased with the performance. I think she managed to reintroduce herself to the public. She was definitely more energetic than she has been in 5 or 6. Her last exceptional award show performance was like 2004. So this was pretty huge for her. She was looking like she was having fun. She was looking present. And I think she did a great job. She was definitely nervous when she got out, though. She, you could tell she swiveled around and she saw the audience and she was like,
a little shaky.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. But
I think I told you guys also that it earned a favorable review from my mother. So
that means a lot.
That's it?
right.
Oh.
So
My mother as well.
Oh,
Yeah, and my
Mom's
mom
up
is
for
no
Britney.
big Britney fan, although in later years she has kind of come around because I've kind of forced it upon my family.
To her music or her as a person? Because
Her
since knowing you,
person.
have warmed up to her actual personality. But yeah, music's still a total.
Right. I think
Blank for
that's kind of my mission is I'll never convince people to love the music, but I think people might have a perception about her that is not entirely accurate. I mean, she's just such a humble dork that I don't think people realize she just does not give anything about
Yeah.
celeb culture or anything like that. Even after the performance, she skidded off the stage. I think she stayed for a few performances, but then I saw the entire Spears clan walk off with their bodyguards a third of the way in. So she didn't stay for the whole thing. She never does.
So since they didn't present her award
Which was
on
so
TV,
weird.
Well, but then I was going to ask, do you think she just didn't want to?
It
She
had
was
to
like,
be
"I'm
her
done."
call. It had to be them. And I think it was probably already planned that way. I don't think they scrapped it last minute or anything. I guess probably her team was like, no, we're good with just the performance. No need to thrust her in front of people and have her do anything impromptu because that could be messy. But she's accepted awards in recent years, so I'm kind of surprised they didn't let her do that, especially because they built this up as she's only the third person to ever accept this award. You would think you'd see her accept that award.
That was my biggest problem with the ceremony. I felt like there were so many good performances, so many good performances,
Yes.
so many performances.
At least 40 people.
At least 40 people played. And I just feel like, there was about 5 awards given out on the broadcast
I
out
don't
of like
remember it.
30 plus categories. And on one hand, I understand because these awards, the Billboard Awards, are specifically, they're not merit-based necessarily. It's unless you count
Yeah.
album sales as merit. So
Right.
it's a little hollow if you look at it from that standpoint. But at the same time, I wish they would just call it a concert or a big party and not an award show, because I feel like you were robbed of a lot of humanity not seeing people accept any awards or barely any awards.
Definitely.
There were
The
no
only-
moments except for Celine Dion.
Celine was the only one where like she was accepting an award from her son, and you could tell she was genuinely surprised. She completely broke down to tears, and
And then when she asked him, "Can you just stay here with me?"
Oh no, that was too much. It was too
devastating.
much. And
was so
she
good.
forced everyone to listen to her. It took her a while to collect herself, and the entire stadium was silent for like the first time since the show started. And she got really choked up. And that was like, wow, this is somebody who cares about this award, that this means something, and that she's being strong. Because everybody else kind of like, I remember vaguely the weekend, like skipping up and being like, yep, thanks. 'Cause
I
he
actually
won.
think that was the most emotion he's shown in a really long
You
time.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
won,
even
like,
for the
20.
weekend.
he dedicated it to Prince, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was him?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was
Apparently
nice.
you were
Remember it.
wasted. Okay.
To be fair, I was a little after Britney's performance. I was just like, nah, screw it. I'm just gonna like enjoy myself now.
And I can identify because I, full disclosure, was at a bachelorette party.
Wow.
In New Orleans. So I was out of touch, and I came back to watch these performances you speak of, and they were nowhere to be found.
Well, Sam and I were
Oh.
actually working that night.
Right.
So.
Right.
frantically
Thanks
trying
for
to
that.
find-
Friends, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, you guys were out partying
this
with
is-
Britney.
I was on a ghost tour, so.
This is a huge issue. Everybody is trying to post these performances, and Billboard did not put them up at all.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
could not find them, except if you follow like shady Twitter accounts who just have the full thing linked. And it's like, okay, well, do you
And I
want people
don't.
to see this
Right.
award show?
I mean, I guess I don't know if it's that they didn't clear it correctly or if that was a ploy to get more people to watch, but that's like a lovely antiquated notion at this point.
Right.
The idea of people watching in real time, even award shows.
And when I think of all of those who were like me on a plane back from a bachelor or bachelorette party,
all of them.
who were denied this right, it really upsets me.
So sad.
It's like
I mean, it was. I came home to watch the stream, and it had already been taken down. I'm like,
it's like what stream?
Yeah,
What stream?
it was awful.
Listen to that billboard. No
the-
tagging though.
The actual show was great. I'm sorry you guys were working during it, because it was a lot of fun to experience in person.
I bet it was.
I bet it was. It
Yeah.
sounds like the mood inside the venue was different.
It
than
was
at home.
different. And that was another interesting thing. I got to see people actually react to the performances, and Meghan Trainor got like a unanimous standing, like everyone was having such a great time, partially because they gave us all wristbands which lit up, which I don't know if you guys saw, but like they corresponded in color while she was singing, and everyone was like, you know, hands in the air.
No, I was too distracted by the guy behind her when she strutted over to the center thing who was
Yeah.
taking a selfie video the entire time. Did you notice
Amazing.
that?
I did not notice that.
Yeah, it was behind her, and there was this bro, and he was holding up his camera and being like, "Yeah," and
God.
thumbs upping while she
That
was
was
singing.
me.
Maybe he knew he
That's
would
what I was
never
watching.
see this footage again.
Yeah, he'll never see it.
I guess I was
Good
kind
thing
of
he taped it.
surprised, but also not surprised that Megan really brought the house down in such a. I mean, she did good.
She
though.
did. She did a really, just from watching on television.
Yeah.
Hers was one of the first performances that stood out to me
Wow.
Yeah.
mean,
because
like-
she had so
This
much
is now
energy.
just a Meghan Trainor fan podcast.
This is the
Yeah,
M
pretty
Train
much.
podcast. That is. I will say though that Rihanna absolutely killed.
Oh,
it as
Rihanna
well.
was incredible.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that was Sunday night, and
That was
then
Sunday night.
I'm of the understanding that there was also another big television event this
There
week.
was another show that I did
Funny
not
you should
catch.
mention it.
But yes, The Bachelorette premiered this week, and apparently, true to previous seasons, had a bunch of really undesirable
Yeah. I
male
mean,
suitors.
you know, it's kind of like when the real world started, everyone on the real world had they didn't know what it was yet, and they had like real jobs and
Right.
external lives, and maybe they had gone to college, maybe they hadn't, but they'd kind of gone through that period, and then slowly, as everybody got familiar with the conventions of the genre, it just became like a bunch of hot messes who like this was their college, and everyone's kind of like playing into the tropes, and that's kind of where we are with The Bachelorette. It's the 12th season, yeah. So I mean, they already tried last season with the like have two girls duke it out to be the bachelor, get the honor of being the Bachelorette. So
And what an honor it is.
with this one, they ramped up the weirdo factor in the first episode, and also brought in, which they've done before, brought in like a brother of a celebrity, like when The Bachelor was Jerry O'Connell's brother.
Who was it this time?
This time, the current front runner is Jordan Rodgers, who is Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the Packers brother, and he does look like an off-brand Aaron Rodgers.
When you say front runner for a show like this, especially in the first night, like what exactly does that mean? Or like how do you get the sense that this person is the front runner?
Both because he's got the squarest jaw.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Well, him and then the Chad, who's like carved out to be the villain. Yeah, certified creep Chad. But he not only does she say, you know, I felt a connection with him right away, but then also in the next on The Bachelor, there was like a million shots
many
of the two of
voices.
them.
And it turns out that they knew each other before the show.
Oh, do tell.
Well, I didn't.
I've been trying not to Google.
Oh, I read a few headlines because this is
I've
the
read a
first
few
time.
headlines. Okay, you run a fan site. Let's full disclosure.
I've read the
This
board.
is the first time I've ever actually watched The Bachelorette.
That's crazy.
And I just read a bunch of
That's
things.
crazy
that
because
said-
Allie has no standards. By the way.
It's true.
That is why
I
it's
really
crazy.
don't. One of
Terrible
my
taste.
favorite movies is 17 Again, starring Zac Efron.
Wow, you didn't have to release that information.
I
I'm
really
glad you
did. Yeah, apparently they know each other, which is why when he says, "Oh, it's nice to see you again," he means it's actually nice to see you again.
I missed that.
At that point, the
I
ground
missed
should
that.
just open up and
Do you know
swallow
how they knew
whole.
each other?
I don't. I didn't read too much into it because
Okay.
I didn't want any more spoilers than that.
Sure.
So
So he's the front runner for many
he is.
reasons.
Yeah. He also got the the special rose.
Yeah, I'm like, what's the early decision rose? It is not. It's not actually college, but yeah, like the safety
first
rose.
impression.
The first impression rose. He made a first impression or a second impression.
Yeah, I guess so.
Wow.
Maybe third.
That feels unfair.
It feels unfair.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
He
that
should be
does-
disqualified, but I guess is
Yeah.
the show over? It's over, right?
It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They don't do a live reveal.
No, they can't because they film in two different locations.
Yeah, they can't. Then they do like a live after show, I think.
Got it.
Where they do a reunion and they
Yeah.
just all sign.
Wow, I can't believe I've never seen it before when I know
I
all
know.
of this.
No.
And they sign non-disclosure, and then it leaks usually. But
What is the success rate of
well,
The Bachelorette?
I actually was like, I could only think of
Crunch some numbers.
three. I could only think of three offhand. I did watch the very first televised wedding of Trista and Ryan.
Right. That was a big deal then.
That was a big deal. Again, we didn't know what it was yet necessarily.
Yeah.
There have been 7 still successful, currently successful couples.
Bachelorette.
No, both.
Oh, both.
Strangely,
Of
that's still,
the 20
Of both.
Bachelor
Right.
seasons and 11 Bachelorette seasons.
Okay.
that's still higher than I expected.
Yeah, that is
actually.
higher than I
Well, isn't it 50% of marriages end in
Right, that's what I
divorce?
was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So
Okay.
that's what, 30% of the
Not sure I see the
couples?
connection, but okay.
no, I mean it's doing worse than.
Oh, yeah.
doing worse.
Oh, it's definitely doing
It's
worse.
definitely
Statistically, it's
worse.
To
doing
the
worse,
surprise
for
of no
sure.
one.
So it doesn't work. People should stop.
Well, that speaks. Well, again, this kind of speaks both to that idea and then also the fact that she already knows Jordan. Is that it is hard for me to believe that people go on the show at this point genuinely wanting love and believing they will find love. But I do think some of them do think that. I'm not sure why a 25-year-old thinks she needs to be on this show.
Oh, is she 25?
Yeah, like when you're 25, like men were like giving me money out of their wallet when I was 25. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're
Yeah.
25, you should literally be meeting. Okay, that was a figure of speech, not
I
white.
mean,
But it was like,
No.
I mean, when you're 25, when you're
more
a
about that.
25-year-old white girl in America who is attractive, Ellie knows what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I don't
about.
know. I don't know why she's on this show
I think you're-
personally.
It just- And then-
overestimating all of their integrity a little bit, because I feel like they probably all really want to be on
Well, and then that's the other
television,
half
and
of
then
it.
Yeah.
I feel like they've probably met because she's already been on The Bachelor. She was already on the previous season of The Bachelor. She was number 2.
Oh, that's right.
So she's like already going to all of these weird parties, like swag bag parties, where you know Aaron Rodgers' brother is hanging out, being like, "I'm Aaron Rodgers' brother."
I was going
He
to say,
wears
sort of,
that sign. It's true. Yeah.
to that point, do you think that she was more excited to learn that she was the Bachelorette than she would have been if she had been chosen by the last Bachelor?
Yes,
Definitely.
That puts it into pretty good perspective.
I think so.
I kind of believe her though. She
That she
seems
wants-
genuine
Yeah.
to me.
Unless
seems
Bachelor Pad's
genuine.
on the agenda.
Allie is so sold for this show.
I am
she's
so
genuine, but
sold.
in a again a very like 25. In the beginning, she says, "I can't wait to meet the person I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with and be done," and
Yeah.
that's it. Like her concept of marriage is literally you meet them and then you get married and then
You're
that's
done.
it.
Yeah,
The
she's
book
overly
closes,
optimistic about this whole thing.
It's done. It's over.
Turn
The
myself
hard part's
into
over.
a compost pile for the next 6
She's so
Yeah.
world weary.
She also has bad taste. I mean, Chad got through, and he's creepy.
Well, I mean, I don't think their tastes like match. Apparently, they match the rest of America because people really think that Jordan and Chad are cute.
Now, why is Chad the villain? For those who haven't seen.
Yeah,
it?
what makes a good Bachelorette villain?
Chad is like the adult version of the jocks in Revenge of the Nerds. He looks like it.
Oh, okay.
He looks like he would wear like a pastel polo shirt with a popped collar.
Right.
He performed a swirly.
He would definitely perform many swirlies. And he said a lot of things like when other men were like going up to her. At one point he says, well, because a Marine is doing push-ups with her sitting on his back.
Oh, God.
And he goes like, yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, you have to be able to do a push-up with a lady on your back. Just a lot of, and that's like one of the kinder things that he said. A lot of
What was his
mean.
supposed occupation?
I don't
Oh, I
remember
don't
what
remember.
Chad's was. Everyone is.
Oh, their
Well, there's some good
occupations are the
ones.
best part.
yeah,
Yeah,
that is the
that's-
best. But
Like Daniel, his occupation is Canadian.
yeah, Canadian.
Whistle
There
Is there a free spirit?
a Bachelor fan.
There's
That's his job.
hipster.
Oh, hipster.
Hipster,
Yep.
that's amazing.
Occupation.
I remember
Long
my
hair.
favorite Bachelor tagline was just free spirit.
Yeah,
One of the
free
girls.
spirit.
I'm pretty sure there was. I said this before. I think there was a chicken enthusiast once. I have not seen the show, but I remember seeing a screen grab that said chicken enthusiast. So.
Oh my God, that's genius.
There is a former pastor turned erectile dysfunction expert.
Right.
Oh, he's
What?
so. Oh my god.
Who I still have a lot of questions about. A lot of questions.
Are those mutually exclusive? For example, like
Well,
why
I
why
just-
did he have to stop his
What
career? And his
did he go to school for something else? Those are the sort like what are his medical qualifications?
parochial
Right.
school
That's-
does
have
it?
a
I
lot of
guess I don't
questions.
know.
Do you plan to keep going with the season? Are you hooked? Do you like it?
I am hooked.
I think
Yeah.
yeah.
I need to know.
Yeah.
I need to know how she eliminates them. Cause okay, Daniel got so drunk. He was like super drunk. He like
Daniel.
stripped down.
The producers obvious.
Okay.
I saw a bunch
no,
of
no, no.
headlines.
This is all real for the sake of television. This is all real. And he went through. I don't understand how he got through anyway because he looks insane.
He looks like
and he
legit
sounds
insane.
crazy.
Because the producers were like, "Great, we need a wild card."
yeah. So
Right.
they were like, "Here, you have to let this one by."
yeah. It's gonna be in at least episode 2 or 3. Then they
All
cut him
the
loose.
headlines today said "Damn Daniel." Like every single
Yeah.
entertainment headline was like "Damn
Well,
Daniel."
because he explains the joke on the show.
Oh.
He introduces himself and he's
Oh.
like, "Damn, JoJo." And I actually didn't get it at first what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then later he sits down with her and is like, Did you see what I did there? And she's like, no. And he's like, there's this internet meme. Damn, Daniel.
Oh, my God.
Have you paid attention to the internet in recent months? And then she just sadly shakes her head. Like, no, sweetie.
oh no,
Who's your favorite?
Oh, of the dudes?
Yeah. No, of the women.
of the girl.
If you
Because
you had
JoJo's
to-
not my favorite.
if you-
I'll tell you that.
If you had to pick one, if you were her.
Oh,
Your first impression,
Ali.
Rose.
No
Oh, mine
question.
too.
Oh, get away.
I
and
love
who
it.
do
All
you
right,
think she will pick for the
runner-up
final?
Grant, the fireman,
Oh yeah, he
who
was,
said,
"Yeah,
I promise I won't fall in love with 2 women on the show." Which
That
again
was
is like
great.
an
That was
impossibility,
like
unless he
impossible.
means a producer.
behind the scenes."
That's incredible.
The fourth wall is
But
meant
those
to
are
be
my
broken.
favorite.
That's what I say.
Do you think your 2 are going to make it all the way, or do
No.
you think just
No.
personal
Oh,
preference?
absolutely
They're not
not.
white. So no.
Exactly.
No.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like she only kept them on to not seem like.
Yeah.
That happens every season.
Yeah.
you
Well,
said
I
you
wouldn't
don't-
know, but
Yeah,
I was
that's-
unsurprised.
You said you don't love JoJo. What is not to like about JoJo?
I don't understand where she's coming from as a human.
Yeah.
That's basically.
You don't trust her.
I don't. It's not even that I don't trust her motives, because I don't necessarily trust anyone's motives on the show. I just feel like she uptalks a lot. This childlike idea of relationship. Stuff like that. But I'll keep watching and rooting for Ali until the 3rd episode, when he is invariably dismissed.
He's my favorite. He's the best one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm excited to see how this pans out. Speaking of TV, this is also the 10-year anniversary of The Hills.
It is.
And Matt has prepared something very special for us.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you all remember where you were on May 31st in the year 2006, but I was in front of my television, and on the television was MTV docuseries The Hills. The Hills was the story of a brave 19-year-old named Lauren Conrad.
This is all new to me. I've literally never seen this show, so I'm learning a lot right now.
This is educational.
I'll just look directly at you.
This is NPR right now.
Lauren Conrad was a 19-year-old who I think earned a 1.7 GPA at Laguna Beach High School and bravely moved out of her parents' Laguna Beach mansion into a Hollywood Hills luxury apartment. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Lauren had dreams, which were the following.
Wait.
Okay.
The Hills is the name of the apartment complex?
No, the apartment complex, and I know this because I would eventually live there, like a few buildings back, where it was darker and drearier, away from the street side. The apartment complex was Park La Brea / the Palazzo.
Okay.
And the Hills was a shorthand Hollywood Hills reference.
Gotcha.
And Lauren would do great things, like, we all know she did not go to Paris. She was a Teen Vogue intern who had the chance. She denied it to spend the summer with her boyfriend, Jason.
But then she got the chance later.
She did. She redeemed herself.
I might watch it, Allie. Spoiler.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Lauren was meant to be the protagonist. She was usually pretty even-tempered. She would be the diplomat at sushi dinners. She would throw parties for her friends on boats, etc. But in my opinion, and I think Allie would agree, who has just disclosed to me that she rewatches the show every summer.
Okay. This podcast is just the worst for me.
It's really about Allie's secrets.
The real unsung hero of the show was Audrina Patridge.
Yeah.
Audrina was someone that the show creator found at the pool one day and said, you can't be at the pool for the next 2 weeks because you have to pretend to meet Lauren and her friend Heidi organically at the pool. Audrina complied, and really we met our new darling. Audrina was someone who was an intern at a record label. She would, I think on 2 occasions, answer the phone upside down.
Was she an intern? I thought she was just the receptionist.
I think you might be right. It was some sort of administration.
At
I think
Epic.
Epic was eventually first. It was Quixote. And then,
right. Okay.
And then it was Epic. And then, so she was known for that. She was, I say this sort of endearingly, she always kind of reminded me of like a broken air conditioner. Like she would try hard to cool the room and she just like couldn't do it. And earlier today I read a retrospective in which she said, I'm pregnant, so I'm going to have a baby soon. And that to me really spoke to Audrina's character. So she was known for those things, as well as dating a man named Justin Bobby Brescia, who was a human ashtray who had a motorcycle.
What is the appeal of this show?
This all
Someone
sounds
please
very
applain
appealing.
to me what the appeal of the show is.
The appeal of the show is dreams and drama at clubs like
Drama.
Ledoux.
Okay,
Drama.
But okay.
It did start off, okay, in fairness, this is all of it. It did start off sincere enough, or at least Lauren thought it was sincere. She thought it was really a show that was following her as she chased her dreams. Quickly, it devolved into something very produced and manufactured, and that's when she sort of left the show, when she realized that it was really just an imposition on her life and her relationship. But everyone else kept going till the wheels fell off.
It's just really authentic.
Right.
You
But
know?
isn't it like really heavily scripted?
It didn't start that way, but it did sort of evolve into that, yeah.
Because I've only
very
seen
last
30-second
scene is
chunks, and
like a hint
all
to
it
that.
is people eating at like sidewalk cafes and checking their phone every 30 seconds and saying, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
literally all that I
In
ever
fairness,
saw.
it was oftentimes crazy, I have to be honest.
So what's this?
So in honor of this momentous occasion, I turned to a favorite scene of mine, in which Audrina and Justin, who were a back and forth couple, Justin again, human ashtray. They have a fight about a fight that they had previously had in reference to a fight. It was a true battle of the intellects. This was the point at which, Audrina was really just going to tell Justin once and for all, like, this is it. So in this dramatic rendering, Allie will play the part of Audrina, and I will play the part of Justin Bobby Brescia.
Just imagine them on a beach, right?
It's actually a boardwalk facing the beach.
Okay,
So.
same thing.
Here we go.
Hey,
Hi, how are you doing?
good. How are you?
Fine.
Yeah, I'm not here to fight with you.
I hope not.
The last time that we talked, you said a lot of things.
I never meant to hurt you. I never meant for anybody to get hurt.
I don't know. A year ago, I never would have imagined it would come to this. I don't feel like I can even be friends with you. I don't know. I just feel like this is going to be the last conversation we ever have.
Well, if it's the last conversation and you want to be young about it, then be young about it. You got to remember that you're the one who said, get out of my life.
You didn't get out of my life.
I definitely tried.
You're so selfish. You're selfish. You're self-centered. All you care about is yourself.
I wish you would see, like, why wasn't Justin committed? Or maybe you just weren't the one. Or maybe I didn't want to put you through hurt.
But you did put me through hurt for all those years that you played with my emotions and just kept going in circles.
You know what's funny? We wouldn't see each other for 4-5 months at a time. So what are you talking about? And then we'd hang out once and you'd be like, oh, what are we?
We'd hang out or we'd see you go around telling people that we were never together. Nothing.
We weren't, Audrina.
You're going to be incapable of loving someone. It's like you're missing out on life. You're going to grow to be a lonely old man.
Yeah.
I hope you do fall in love someday because maybe you'll actually feel something. I wish you the best, Justin.
Scene.
Matt, also on the hills, did he not talk like a human talks?
Okay, this is in preparation for this role. I watched him
I am a human man.
pretty intensely, and I sort of chalked him up to like Yogi Bear, who had like a quarter of his jaw wired shut, and that was my inspiration for that.
I have some YouTubing to do.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Allie, hidden talent.
I know.
And I also have a feeling you had that memorized and didn't need that paper.
Maybe I did. I don't know.
Pretty sure. But great job.
I did send it yesterday, so
It's an incredible job. I want to thank you both for proving that you are two actors in waiting.
No, I want to thank you actually, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So
You're welcome.
we just let our stares linger for a quick second in honor of the hills also. That's something
That was
we
it.
do.
Yep.
Dead air and dead eyes. Dead air and dead eyes.
Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in for another episode of Some Like It Pop. For more, check us out at popcrush.com.
Every time.
Sounds like- Follow us on Twitter at PopCrush. Subscribe to us on iTunes.
And next week we have a special bonus episode that is Allie and I discussing the Gilmore Girls.
Yay!
Yay! If you lead, I'll follow.
Oh, God.
Get out.